There will be one. But with the rights here and the creator there, who knows what's going to come of it. There'll be one. Space is an obvious possibility. What's your favorite build? Swords. Also, swords. Sometimes, swords. On occasion, swords. What's yours? So, signs? Yeah, exactly. I know, I get caught in the same old thing. Yeah, and when nothing else will work, there's swords. Swords! Swords and sorcery. Anybody play that mobile game a few years ago, some years ago? Super Brothers Swords and Sorcery? I never finished it. I remember starting it. What happened? I played that. It was very mellow. Alright, I want to talk about loot tables for a minute since we're grinding this one, trying to roll a perfect whatever. Loot tables are funny things. If you've ever tried to, I don't even know what I'm trying to ask here. What's the best roll you've ever had in a game? Like a loot roll or something that you just know is a really rare item and your odds of getting were super low, but it happened. I can tell you what mine was. I remember the single rarest loot roll I've ever had in a game. It was in Dungeons and Dragons Online. It's a very specific thing. In the end, it was, I hope it's still on a character. I never spawned it, but it was an owl bear pet that I got through a double, like a, there were these weekly gifts. You could just roll, like you could roll daily and you could roll weekly, and I don't remember the rules, but you could roll the dice, and depending on the range you got in, you might get a certain type of loot or a certain type of loot. Well, if you rolled 100, you were in a certain category, and then you had to, there was like a confirmation roll, and the potential for some of these items, I don't know. All I know is it blew my mind. I did this weekly roll, and it was like 100, and then you rolled a 100, and then they're like, here's your fucking owl bear. Ah! Pretty cool. That's what we're trying to do here. The reason I bring it up is because that's what it feels like for this silly pristine screw. I feel like we're rolling on a loot table and we have to hit 100 twice. That's not it. I don't know what it is. It's just a rare drop. But we've probably killed this guy, I don't know how many dozens of times, and we haven't gotten a single pristine screw. And yet we've gotten some other things like a few down attack +2s. We've gotten dozens of down attack chips, but most of them are flat or +1s. Out of all those down attack chips, we've only gotten 2 +2s, which means they're on the high end of the loot table. We're rolling whatever the invisible roll is for loot. When we got those +2s, we rolled high. And but we didn't get what we want. So maybe there's multiple rolls going on. Maybe we got a high roll, but we're on bad category. I don't know. Depends on what the loot tables look like. Apparently you need 12 pristine screws for all the weapon upgrades. Yeah, if you were taking everything to level 4. But you don't have to do it in Route A, and you don't have to do it here with this enemy, and so much of what's going on is about me being stubborn and just went off the rails 3 hours ago now, 3.5 hours ago. I'll try and be back on the rails on Monday. So let's see, what all have you looted? Troublesome Boner, you found a storm shield in Diablo 2 under a rock in the cow level. Why was I was reading about something about the cow level today. I saw something this morning about the cow level. 2 and 3. Jamster couldn't say. Procyon, you got a very good drop in Diablo 3. Sold it for the cost of the game and got your money back. Damn. So they had that marketplace, that ill-fated marketplace that's gone, right? The Diablo 3, they shut down that auction house. It's pretty cool. DJ, a serious $500 CS:GO night. Have you gotten something like that? Down attack up. It's relaxing. I'm glad for that. Relaxing's good. Yes, and you sold it for 450 cash. Oh, cheers. Far more interesting to me personally than the Owl Bear were some of the loot drops I got in Star Wars Galaxies, the original version of that game. The combat was not balanced. One of the reasons the game implemented what was called the combat upgrade, which was... don't want to talk about that, but the original version of the game had this wonderful and terribly imbalanced and broken combat system. But the loot drops were so varied. Incredible ranges. You could get the same gun or melee weapon that was complete crap all the way up to a legendary rare on the server. Like, no one has ever... You could get a drop of the same type of weapon that everybody has, but you get one with the legendary next to its name and stats that were truly so good that you would know there was no one else on your server who had a weapon like you. And there were so many types of weapons, and the way the system worked, it's not that there couldn't be multiple legendaries, but they were so rare that legendaries were rarely seen. Superiors were exceptionals. They were exceptionals, not superiors. Exceptionals were the more common ones. The legendaries were just almost unheard of. So you could find exceptional and legendary versions of just about anything. You play the game enough, you would stumble on something kind of special or unique. I found a couple things, no legendaries. I got to hold a couple in my time. I was with someone when they looted what was probably one of the best guns on the server I played on in the entirety of the game before they changed the combat systems. But my own personal best weapon loot in that game was a staff type weapon, vibro axe, a long vibro axe. Had a pikeman, a polearm character. And the polearms that dropped in that game could also have dots on them, damage over time. Some of the most powerful, imbalanced damage over time mods. You could get a crappy little staff that had a poison or a disease on it that was so strong that it was just, you know, a PvP killer. If PvP was your thing, you just poke someone with it and, oh, they're dead. It was so imbalanced, but it was so beautiful. So you could have real unique weapon collections, and they had durability, and the weapons could break down. So if you had this incredible weapon, you had to decide whether or not you wanted to use it. You couldn't just go crazy with it until they implemented a system for stopping decay on weapons, and that was another one of the big imbalance issues the game had. But I had some cool vibro axes. And I had one that was nowhere near the best on the server, but the thing was so damn powerful, I felt like a god. It was... Man, and looting that was just, it was a glorious day. Like, it was scream out loud in your own space, just... Oh, man. It is. WoW is going free to play. Never played WoW. No, it was like that. It was doing that. Procyon Vanilla WoW was like that. There was a world boss which yielded a legendary. People would duel for the right to claim it after downing the boss. Yeah, I really miss the loot system in the original Galaxies. On the, let me see, it was on, I think it was on the 4th of July. Emil! The tape system. So there were attachments you could put into sockets and clothing and armor and all these rules to that. And the tape system and armor attachment system was also quite broken and imbalanced. The max value on the mods was 25. For almost any skill, it was, I think, 25. And in theory, you could get a perfect drop on an attachment that would have a value of plus 25. Like, 20 or 25, that was the max drop. In any case, you could basically max out a skill. I'm drifting a little bit. You would need more points to max out a skill, but the maximum point value on a particular mod drop was so rare and so high that it became so valuable, and people played the game just to farm for those. And I never got one, except once. On the 4th of July, it was either 2000, must have been 2004. I had a swordsman character, and I looted a plus 25 two-handed weapon damage. I mean, it's one of the rarest fucking mods you could find. Out of all the skills, it was the one my character needed. It was glorious. Hey, KG. Hi. The old expansions up to Legion will be free if you're a subscriber. That's what you understand about it? I don't know all the bits and pieces of WoW, but... Play up to level 20 for free. All this reminiscing about loot drops is because that's what we're doing today. It wasn't the plan, and I ended up just doing this today. Subjecting you all to this loop. It's an attempt to beat the odds on the loot table and get a silly pristine screw. Trying to get that plus 25 mod, trying to get that Uber Lance, trying to get that drop. Little screw. I could make a pristine screw. I could mill it from a solid block of titanium with my fingernails in less time than this. Maybe not with my fingernails. How about it? Come on, give us what we want, and we'll leave you alone. Yeah, sort of as you described with WoW there, KG, I was so immersed in Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah, it was a morning, noon, and night. It was a lifestyle thing for a while. I didn't make it 10 years. The game didn't make it 10 years. So long ago. It came out in the summer 2013. I started playing it in the fall of that year. Played it on and off until the game shut down. But the heyday for that game was 03, 04, 05. Never played a game with as satisfying a housing or crafting system. I haven't gone exploring every MMO out there or anything, but I know nothing has ever done what Galaxies did in terms of crafting systems. It's a hard sell in 2018 to talk about how special some of that was, the resource system, the player economy, for better or worse, and the depth of the crafting as related to those resources. So much random. The RNG in that game could destroy the RNG from all other games created since. I don't know. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, those of us playing Star Wars Galaxies in 2003 and 2004 were a bit resentful of the coming storm with WoW, because when WoW launched, it immediately cannibalized player bases of other games. Star Wars Galaxies had, I don't remember the numbers, 250,000 players, active players. It was good numbers. It was good numbers back then. But then WoW came out and had millions of active players. And Sony chased that. First of many. Maybe not the first, but one of many to chase WoW's success. And they destroyed their own game, trying to get from 250,000 active subscribers to WoW numbers. And what did they do? Well, they lost their 250,000 and eventually lost their game. DBA Bob, tell us how you really feel. Let me tell you about the gaping hole in my heart that Star Wars Galaxies left. Good to see you, Bob. Cheers. I don't know if you've been lurking today, but it's been an endurance run of going in circles. I guess we'll get back to the game on Monday. What kind of features did they add in Pursuit of WoW? Oh man, Procyon, if you're somewhat or completely unfamiliar with the situation, it's an epic tale, but the game was overhauled twice in an effort to chase WoW. The first one was originally supposed to be a combat balance, and they had a whole beta team to beta test the combat rebalance. It was called Rebalance at one point. Combat upgrade and rebalance. What was his name? One of the community leaders. Was it Thunderheart? Did I have his name right? One of the community leaders who did a lot of dev communication. He posted a whole document, pages and pages, about what they wanted to change. And they had a beta team testing this stuff for, I think, months as it got closer and closer to release. Got another level. And in the final days, like 2 days before releasing, it did. Yeah, it actually did. This is true. More true, maybe even than you know as you jest. What was released when they released the combat upgrade was not what the beta testers who had been beta testing the combat balance and the combat upgrade and rebalance was not what they had been testing. Star Wars Galaxies mobs did not have an overt level system. You run around in MMOs, that's a level 5, that's a level 20. I'm a level 15. I can take the level 5, but I might be really hard to take the level 20. Galaxies didn't initially have that. There was an invisible level system, but it really didn't scale things the way you would expect an MMO to. Each mob had individually programmed stats. The database for Star Wars Galaxies is a shit show. And it's part of what made it really hard to rebalance, because they would have to go through all the spawns in the game and manually rebalance them the way they had designed it. And that's basically what was being tested. The beta testers were testing a version of what would be if they went through and overhauled all the mobs and the different weapon types, and there were 32 professions. And not all combat professions, but more than 20 of them were combat professions. And they were not well balanced. Some of them were completely broken, and there were so many moves. And you weren't locked into a class. You could mix and match classes. You had points you could spend in any skill trees, and people would dual class, and there were triple class, and some people, all kinds of things. But you were not locked in. You never picked a class. You just spent points. So it was beautifully complex, so broken, needed rebalancing, and they got lazy at the last second. They didn't put in the work to rebalance everything in the way it was being tested. So when the combat upgrade launched, what everybody loaded into was a game with overt levels. All of a sudden, they had taken a shortcut, and they had just tagged groups of mobs with levels, and they had come up with a new damage system, completely new damage system, and they had flattened all those special weapons, that unique system of randomly generated damage ranges and dot types. They flattened everything into a really simplistic level-based. It was good. But you know what? We survived it. We weathered it. We learned how to make the most of it. And the extremely powerful imbalancing stuff was still powerful and not as imbalancing. And as resentful as we were that they had taken away all our cool shit, we got used to it and we made the most of it. And the players that didn't leave, we had a lot of fun in what was called the CU, the combat upgrade. Completely different version of the game. Didn't resemble the one before it in combat and loot and it robbed the game of something. But that was nothing compared to the second attempt. I don't know if any game has ever been gutted like Star Wars Galaxies. The combat upgrade lasted from I think it was implemented in 05. WoW came out in 04. Galaxies was chasing WoW's success, overhauled their game in 05, decided they had done such a bad job of it. Remember, their plan was A, they implemented B, realized B was fucked, and started designing C. A had 250,000 subscribers, B lost a lot of them, and C lost even more. They could have stuck with A, but they wanted what WoW had. They wanted millions of subscribers. So they pillaged their own game. What eventually was released and was really the end of Star Wars Galaxies, although it lingered for some years, was called the NGE. And if you played it, you know what it was. I think it was either New Game Enhancements or New Game Edition. Whatever the hell it stood for, it was bad news. They didn't tell the community it was coming out. It actually leaked out in a piece of box art from a game store. There was this box art for the game we were playing, which at this point was like version B, the combat upgrade. And this box art came out saying, November, new release, Star Wars Galaxies. Easy to it literally it said like easy to play, to get into. It had this weird stuff on the box that made it sound like the game. It wasn't the game we were playing. They were about to start selling some version of the game that they hadn't warned us was coming, didn't want to tell us was coming, and we found out through a leaked box art image like a month or two before the game got overhauled again. And that turned it into a completely different game. I don't even know how to describe the NGE. We're in the ether now. I was trying to describe the old systems, and then I talked a little about... There's nothing tangible I can give you to understand how fucked up it was. But they stripped any semblance of functional combat, and they were trying to make a more arcadey system. They wanted everything... They wanted it to be... It's almost like they wanted an FPS MMO. But it was a turn-based MMO. And they wanted everybody to feel like the action was just... They destroyed the game by dumbing down 32 classes into 8. I think it was 8. Including Jedi as a starting profession. They took everything down to tropes. They gave you a very action-oriented introduction to the game, and then they dropped you in a world that was created for a different game. And it never worked. I mean, the games, the guns didn't even connect with their targets right. They were they wanted to implement, it's like, trying to say, hitboxes for everything. What's the term I'm looking for? They wanted everything to be mapped out so that it was no longer the turn-based, role-based combat system. But, you know, if you were shooting and there was something in the way, it would actually be a physical object that would block your shots. The game didn't have a lot of that. It was a very rudimentary MMO. Yes, things had physicality, but hit mapping, is that the term I'm looking for? Hit mapping? Everything was supposed to be hit mapped in the NGE. And they lazed out on that too, and they never did it. So hits wouldn't connect with things right, things would miss, things would lag. The game just went to shit. And yet we lingered on. We kept playing for a while after that. They threw parties on the day they shut the game down, but it wasn't the same game by then. Yeah, Tor was another thing that didn't help. When BioWare opened up their studio to work on what would become the Old Republic, the rumor was that Sony was losing the license and BioWare was getting it. That Galaxies was going to get shut down and that BioWare was working on a secret Star Wars MMO. So those of us who were just living in Galaxies and loved it, had the ground pulled out from under us, because WoW came out and was such a success that Sony destroyed what we had, and then they took another shot at it, and then they just lost it. It was such a mess, they lost the license to BioWare. So I played a little tour, but I've always been a bit resentful. And I've never played WoW, and I've always been a bit resentful, and that's all because of Galaxies. So Bob, tell us how you really feel. The Galaxies did leave a gaping hole in my gaming heart. You can actually play the original Galaxies. There is an emulated version of it. Fantastic project. The team of people who have been working on that reverse-engineered emulator, because nobody had any code from Sony. I followed the development of that emulator from its very early stages. I have a buddy who I played Star Wars Galaxies with who... I mean, that was 15 years ago, and he did a little code for one of the early versions of that. It was long since uninvolved. After all these years, they did it. You can run a server or log into an emulated version of the original Star Wars Galaxies. Damn near everything where it's supposed to be. But we'll never get back the original servers and communities. We'll never get back that moment in time. Star Wars Galaxies was so devoid of content, and that proved to be one of its biggest strengths, odd as that may sound. It was always meant to be a sandbox. Yeah. And Raph Koster, who had a lot of say in the original version of that game, is quite fond of his theory of fun and what is fun for humans, among other things, puzzles and patterns and matching patterns and solving puzzles. But how do you... They become repetitive as we start to find patterns. We start to see the patterns. It tickles something inside of us. We like that. But as we become too comfortable with, too used to the patterns, the routines, they start to break down. How do you keep the mind busy? How do you create a game that just keeps going, that can keep people interested without just repeating itself? Well, part of that was the emergent gameplay that comes from not telling people how to play, telling them what to do. Here's the quest. Go here, fetch this, do that, shoot that, come here, get reward. Yeah, the game had that stuff too. Of course it did. It didn't have much more than that besides atmosphere and community, and then these mechanical systems that had so much potential. The emergent gameplay could not have been predicted. They gave the community these tools and a world. And a lot of people said, where's the game at? Where's the story? Where's Luke? Where's Leia? But its beauty wasn't in being a Star Wars tale told. It was in being a Star Wars world handed over. Misbehave. Hey, how are you doing today? Good to see you.
Message coming in.
Thank you for the host. Misbehave, we have been doing the same thing in a loop for the past 4 hours now. And we're going to do it for a little longer until I wrap. I flubbed today hard, but we've been following through. So you're stuck? What do you mean, KG? Do you mean in game? No, I'm not stuck. I just chose to be. I'm choosing to be stuck right now. Not actually stuck. I know, it's boring as hell. But I lost it. So we're just waiting for a miracle. On a really pointless grind. You're probing planets? Oh, it's a perfect match for what we're doing. You're grinding. 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 I suppose, Procyon, I never really answered your question too well, but what kind of WoW systems? I don't know WoW well enough to be able to match systems, but we used to laugh as a Star Wars Galaxies community. When WoW was new, we used to laugh at the color-coded loot. Now that's standard. Tiers of loot identified with a clear visual tell, so that you can tell what you want to pick up and don't want to pick up, and easier sorting. It makes sense. WoW had a lot of practical ideas. But with our beautiful and unique loot, we laughed at the color coding, the dumbed down, we saw some of the beauty in the systems we had, and we didn't want it to be dumbed down for mass appeal. Galaxies had a stupid learning curve and all sorts of broken stuff, but it was so rewarding. D-Star, what are you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not even trying to say WoW started it, but that was my first major impression of it. D-Star, thank you very much. Are you off to bed? You're heading to sleep? Oh, I see. I'm reading backwards. Throwing in a bit more luck still, and have a good weekend. Oh. Good night, and thank you again. Sweet dreams. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. So yeah, Diablo, but Diablo wasn't an MMO, and we didn't want that happening to our MMO, and... And the levels, WoW was a very straightforward level-based MMO, and we didn't want that in Star Wars Galaxies. We knew we didn't want that. Did I just land, or am I supposed to be leaving? I don't even know. Lost track of the loop. So one of the devastating blows with the combat upgrade was that they had promised us a rebalance, and they gave us a level system as a lazy way of rebalancing it. And there was so much more wrong with it, but that was the crux of it, was that they could have fixed the game they had, and instead they just went with some of what became really standard MMO stuff. A la WoW. And they were never able to shoehorn it into the game very well either, because the game had been built around other systems. Let's see what these down attack up twos we've gotten look like. All these down attack up. This is from killing this guy all day today. We've been killing this guy, and he's been dropping these. It's not even a chip we need. WoW has changed their level system over the years. Works differently now. WoW did a lot of smart things. Whether you liked them or not, they were smart from a design standpoint, from a mass appeal standpoint, from want people to understand how to play your game and enjoy it without a difficult curve. Yeah, you don't have to do exactly what WoW did, but WoW did a lot of things right. Other developers noticed, and a lot of games followed suit. If WoW hadn't been such a success, some of the design decisions they made would still have been adopted because they were smart and would be implemented by others effectively. Some of that came from their success. I want what they've got. Oh my god, they have millions of subscribers. I want that. What did they do? It's happening right now with Battle Royale. Doesn't matter how good Fortnite is. It's Fortnite is the WoW of Battle Royales. Fortnite is to Battle Royale what WoW was to MMOs in the early days. It wasn't the first, but it was the, oh shit, that's how you do it moment. And then, you know, what's the industry gonna do? They want a piece of Fortnite's $1 billion. So they're gonna say, well, what's the formula there? Can we repeat that formula? Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, different type of games, but the idea. Yeah, whatever's current and popular, companies see that as an opportunity. Of course they do. This is getting really old. We're gonna end up not getting our pristine screw. And when we come back to this on Monday, to actually play the game again, I will come, I'm sure I'll be salty a little bit and mention it, but I will try to come prepared to just let this go. Let it go. We won't do this. We won't do any more of this on Monday. Think of all the rare fish. We could have all the rare fish in the game by now. But no, I had to have the pristine screw. Hey, Daisy. How you doing? Yeah, not PUBG's best move, huh? Alive, that's as good as it gets. I don't know. Still losing my mind. Still losing my mind. I'm alive. I'm alive. I can't complain. I don't have the problems people have. I'm a fucking milquetoast here. I'm losing my mind over nothing. That's me right now. Failing at the milquetoast life. 'Tis what it is. The milk toast life for me. Jamster, isn't it silly? I can't help but think a little bit with this battle royale craze right now. And I get there's a sort of king of the hill aspect where you whittle down to the winner, part of the appeal in some cases. But it sure sounds a lot like deathmatch, just like classic. Pick your game. Quake. I used to play some Quake and some Medal of Honor Allied Assault. Yeah, okay, we didn't call it Battle Royale, but we started with a shitload of people on a map, and we're all trying to kill each other. And it's not really that different. That people aren't being removed from competition. Anyways, same basic idea, right? It's not that different, it's a variation on a theme, so why should PUBG get pissed that Fortnite, like, tweaked the model a little bit? PUBG's just a tweaked deathmatch. It's yeah. Much ado about nothing. Except Cuisine Royale. Oh yeah, so... Gotta cover the dainty bits. Still hot garbage, but has some humor to it. Yeah, some of you probably saw the Culling 2 in the news this week. If anybody played the first one, I remember that. I have a buddy who works on that dev team. So, you know, Culling 2, not the world's most successful launch, but a hell of a mea culpa and really owning what happened there, as they had a Hunger Games style battle royale game that was even successful initially before its actual release. But they went chasing things they thought they needed to do and diminished their own product by it, and then the sequel. So their mea culpa includes trying to get back to their roots. They're gonna relaunch the first game and free to play and try and get back to the version of the game that actually had a lot of people playing it because they really liked it. KG, I know it exists. I haven't seen it. I heard it was pretty good. Nathan Fillion in a Uncharted fan movie. And some effort to get attention for him as a possible actor in a feature film. You own that OG game? The Culling? First Culling? Yeah, my buddy's one of the art guys on for Xaviant. And he did hook me up with a copy of the Culling 2 when it launched. I didn't even know they were making it, as a lot of people didn't know, and I loaded it up, and I'm sad to say that the reports around were kind of accurate. I loaded it up, and in like 10-15 minutes before it kicked me out, I never saw another player. Never got to play anybody. Well, DJ, when they relaunch the original, free to play, maybe. Check it out. You know, it'd be really cool if we actually got the thing we've been trying to get for the past 5 hours. That would be nice.
Huh.
Yeah, Tom Holland doesn't strike me as a Nathan Drake sword. What do I know? Oh, come on. Big bucks, no whammies. We need a pristine screw, not a stripped screw. Trying to roll that 100 on the loot and then confirm it with another 100 or whatever the hell's going on under the hood. Duct tape and 2 screws is pristine. See, DJ, I'm thinking I could just make one from scratch in less time than this. Though I guess if you were trying to get some of the other rare things in this game, like the rarest fish, you might get into a similar situation where you're trying to catch a swordfish or whichever fish you're trying to get. You could spend hours and you might get it in 5 minutes, or you might spend 5 hours and not see it ever. Whew. Go to the closest store, buy screw, profit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do a whole nother hour of this. I think we're gonna wrap soon. We are gonna wrap soon. Let's do a little more. Do you hear that, Goliath class bot? We need this pristine screw. Got a Destiny things. Buy in-game pristine screws for $1.99. No, it wouldn't be funny, but I might crack and do it at this point. No, did not support that kind of thing. Yep. Literally. That's what we're doing, KG. It's silly. The game is not making us do this. It is, this is on me. This is on me. I had a mental breakdown 45 minutes into the stream and decided I was going to cope with it by doing this until we got the screw. And 4 hours later, we still don't have the screw. Little did I know what I was getting us into. I thought I might get away with getting back on the rails at some point today, but since this just unfolded this way, I think I gave up about 2 hours ago in getting back on the rails. chip. That's not what we need.
Yeah.
This has been a strange way to grind out 100,000 gold and a few levels. I will go check. You think the half-wit scientist might sell one? That would be a riot if he did. Let's go see. Go see. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go see, and I think I'm done with this, so if he doesn't, I think we're gonna wrap. So. No, it's okay. It's no worries, no worries. I don't expect him to have the pristine screw. I think I am toast. I have actually not gotten out of this seat in 4¼ hours. That unexpected emergency first break when I lost it was about 45 minutes into the stream. Took 5, came back, sat down, and then we started grinding on this guy. And I haven't taken a break. We have been fighting this guy for more than 4 hours. We've been doing this loop. But everyone says just keep going to the Atom Boss area because enemies there just respawn and it's a confirmed drop. Yeah, you know, if we weren't playing on hard where you saw what happened and I get explodified before I can even turn the camera in the direction of what's blowing me up, that makes sense. And maybe between now and Monday, I will fire this up and grind it out and find us a damn screw. I don't know. But we won't do this on Monday. I will not subject us to another day of just grinding Goliaths trying to get a stupid screw. Wasn't my plan today. Sorry about that. It's, Please sell me some of the materials the Rocket brought back. We bought everything he had. He may actually have nothing. The meteorite shard and an alien mask. Does he restock this? Didn't we already buy one? Oh, you can buy, like, he has a bunch of them if you want. What are you using the meteorite shards for? And should we buy some? Irrelevant for the moment. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. In Route B, you know, it's not even going to be a problem. Once you can hack things, there's locations. I think there's one in a chest somewhere. Look it up on the wiki. This was all about just... There was nothing rational about what happened today. That's what I want to emphasize. It wasn't rational, it just was. Oh my. Let's play with those down attack up chips we got today. It's crazy, we got so many of them. Down attack up! Alright, so the most efficient combinations is a 4 and a 5. Funny. Wait, how did that happen? How are... Then a 3, 7. I think I screwed up at least one of those combinations. But... Down attack up plus 4. 15% on the down attack. That 3, okay, anyways, sell some of these. The deadly heal stuff probably stacks. If I hang on to those until I decide better what I want to do with it. Where this day actually started was I wanted to get 3 pieces of natural rubber and 2 simple gadgets, and we kind of went out in search of that, and a couple things popped, and we got pictures of a flower for 6-0, and then I just said, all right, let's get this pristine screw, and uh-oh, the rest. I'm not sure it's this chest, or even that it was the pristine screw. Maybe it was the other thing I looked up. Some other item I was looking up. But there's a one of many chests we can't hack into yet because we're still in Route A. There could be one right there. I just... Alright, I'll work on getting my sanity back. You guys all stay awesome. Have a good rest of your weekends. Thank you for the company. I really mean that. If you guys weren't here, I could have walked earlier. I almost did. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Back at it Monday. Part of me wants to say let's stream. Let's have another stream tomorrow. Let's do that. But no. I need my. I want to be sane. I don't. So, thank you guys for being awesome. Did she come back? What's that, Colonel? Who come back? Hey. Yeah, right back at you. Hugs for everyone. Thank you. Did A2 come back? Colonel, all I have been doing, I've been grinding the same enemy for the past 4 hours. 4 of the past 5 hours have been spent grinding the same enemy. So we did not encounter A2. Maybe on Monday. We'll actually play the game on Monday. How's that sound? I love you guys. Be well. Enjoy your weekends. Hug someone. And I'll see you back here. Thanks for keeping me afloat. Next time.